For my senior civic outreach project, I decided to do 3 events. The first event I'm going to do is volunteer at Crestwood Elementary's Bowling STEM Club. This event is important because it creates connections between some of the youngest students in our society and the oldest. The next event I will be doing is volunteering at the Covington Place Senior Apartments. At the senior apartments, Spencer and I will go floor to floor and basically wipe down and scrub every single door, removing them of scuff marks. Assisting the elderly in our communities is important because it makes life easier on them and creates a better relationship between the elderly people and high school students. The third event I am going to do is interview a policeman. This event holds civic importance because it gives me an opportunity to learn more about our local law enforcement. Interviewing a policeman is especially relevant nowadays because of all the recent tensions between communities and law enforcement throughout the country. Hey, Mr. Veliz, I'm here at Crestwood Elementary. School's just getting out. They have a math and science bowling STEM club after schools at around 3:45. So I volunteered to go in and help with that. So we're going to go in and see how this goes.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's going to catch the brain? Okay. Ready, set, go.
Catch the bug.
Yeah. 15 seconds. You were just about the speed of our young man over here.
It's going to be a good audience.
Okay, put on the messy glasses.
I'd rather be the goalie.
Wait, what was my task? I'm 14 seconds.
Oh.
I'm joining.
My left eye's already weaker, so now
Oh,
I'm dueling.
Will you be standing? Am I speeding around fast time? Is this
Yeah,
I'll be standing. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4, 5, go!
He's actually showing off.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
Stop.
No, he was showing
Ollie,
off.
stop.
No,
I'm so dizzy right now.
Hey, you did it half a second slower. Good job.
Half a second
What was the
slower.
experience like?
It was awful.
I think I'm insane.
Well, you saw its accuracy go down through. I mean, the first time you just put it in there.
Hey, Mr. Veliz, just finished up at the elementary school. It went really well. We talked about brains and concussions, and we simulated what it's like to have a concussion. That's what that obstacle course was about. So yeah, I think it went really well. I got to talk to some bowling employees, and I'll talk to you more about it later. Hey, Mr. Veliz, we're out here at the Covington Place Senior Apartments. I'm here with Spencer. We volunteered to go in and help clean up a bit. We're gonna wash off some doors, do the utility services like the electrical parts and washing machines. So we're gonna go in and do that and see how it goes.
What are you doing, man?
Well, we're going around and cleaning all these doors. So just wet the sponge. Wipe it down all over, get the little spots out, and then after we've done the whole door, we just take the rags and dry it off so it looks really nice, shiny, and we help this place look clean. Hey, Mr. Veliz, just finished up at the senior apartments. It was a really rewarding experience. Cleaned all the doors down, wiped them down, so the seniors don't have to do it. Makes the senior apartments look nicer, and yeah, it's just really rewarding. Makes me feel good. Good for the community. Makes the senior apartments a better place to live. Hey, Mr. Veliz. So for this event, I'm going to interview a police officer. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for me to learn more about our local law enforcement and kind of get their ideas on or their thoughts and ideas on how our community is functioning and how well our community's participation level is in events like jury duty, sitting in on court hearings, stuff like that. With the recent high tensions between the African American community and law enforcement, does our community seem to treat you any differently?
It certainly is an issue to be aware of. For the past 7 years as the police chief, I have made a strong effort to reach out to the black community leadership in the city of Kent. We have formed very strong relationships and often communicate on issues. The black community treats the police department with respect. However, there is a good, healthy skepticism that keeps both sides very honest.
Are you happy with our community's participation level where participation is necessary or important, like city council meetings, jury duty, etc.?
I think our community is similar to many communities throughout the state and the country. If you attend city council meetings, you would see that they are very lightly attended. With our recent elections, I believe there were about 15,000 votes cast in the city of Kent, where we have a population of 127,000 people, which is a very low turnout.
What kinds of things do you do in our community outside of your average workday?
As part of connecting and building trust with the community, I also participate in service clubs like Kent Rotary, and as a board member with Kent Youth and Family Services. It is really important that there is a strong connection between the police department and the Kent community.
So hey, Mr. Veliz, I just finished up my police interview. I think it went really well. It really gives me a better perspective on law enforcement's point of view on certain issues, and it just kind of broadens the scope for me for how I look at our community. So yeah, I think it went well. My first event was volunteering at a local elementary school. The civic impact of this event is that it fosters connections and interactions between young people and teenagers. I know when I was in elementary school, I looked up to the high school students and could not wait until I was old enough to be in their shoes. By going in and talking to and helping teach kids in my community, it allows for each age group to learn from one another. We can share ideas and experiences which bridge the social gap between young children and young adults in our society. Volunteering at elementary schools is important because the kids can learn about life as they get older. Then I went to the old folks' home to help them out. Assisting the elderly in our communities is necessary because it makes life easier on them. And if we don't do things which are difficult for them to do, they will have to do them and can end up harming themselves. The civic impact on the community is that it leads to an overall happier elderly population and provides them with a cleaner place to live. There is additional civic impact in the fact that it creates a better relationship between the senior community and the young people in our community. Interviewing a policeman was probably my favorite event of the 3 I participated in. In doing so, I was able to develop a greater sense of community between our society and the people who protect it. Additionally, it gave me an opportunity to learn more about our local law enforcement. Not only did I learn about how our local law enforcement functions, I also learned about our local government as well. More specifically, I learned a little bit about our elections and how few people actually vote in them. The officer I had the privilege of interviewing is a chief in Kent and has many ties to the city's government. He frequently works with the governor and the city council and was able to share some information with me about our recent elections and how, as you heard, the voter turnout was about 12%, which is very low. Interviewing a policeman is necessary in order to get a more in-depth perspective of our interactions with society. The overall civic impact of my project was to provide me with a variation of experiences outside of my everyday life. In doing so, I was able to broaden my sense of community and what community means. I connected with law enforcement, young children, and the elderly within my community. Coupled with my own experiences with high school students, these relations with other parts of my society give me a broader understanding of my community as a whole.